Hello. This is really one of the less appreciated categories of my store. And yet, this is one of the sections that I spent quite a bit of time on. It was not so difficult to pick a brand because there are many good brands that make wristwatches, and I've mentioned those. In fact, I was a bit surprised to find watches by a couple of these makers. I didn't know that Maserati makes watches. They happen to be on the very top of this store, and I was unaware that Ferrari makes watches. And those are right after Maserati, and then followed by Hugo Boss. So the brands that I have in this collection, and I have perhaps more than 300 watches here. I'm not sure exactly how many watches there are, but Maserati, Hugo Boss, Casio, Suunto, Garmin, Titan, Victorinox, Movado, Citizen, Fossil, Diesel, and these are not all the brands. There are more brands. Now, one of the reasons why this category is less than appreciated or lesser appreciated is because fewer and fewer people are wearing wristwatches. Mostly people would look at their mobile phones to look at what the time is. And there isn't a need for people to wear a wristwatch. But those who are fond of wristwatches, those who appreciate the engineering, the build, the feel of wearing a wristwatch, they would always say, and I'm one of those people, we would always say that wristwatches will always have a place in the way a person dresses up. So it's purely out of habit. When a person gets ready in the morning, he puts on his wristwatch. Now, of course, there are wristwatches that are for specific activities. If somebody goes mountain climbing, there's a wristwatch which has an altimeter. Somebody goes scuba diving, wristwatches that tell you what depth you're at. So wristwatches are not only beautiful to look at, but they have functionality. That is beside the point. I possibly could not include every single wristwatch that I wanted to, but this is a fairly big collection of wristwatches, and some of these, like by Movado, are really beautiful to look at. And the same brands put out more expensive watches too, but I haven't included the most expensive watches in this category. In this category, the watches that I've included are in a price range where one would feel comfortable using them on a daily basis, and sometimes for a special occasion as well. Well, I'm making this video late at night, and there's a dog barking outside. That's always a problem making videos. You never know when there's a sound coming from the outside. I don't have a dog, but the neighbors evidently do. So, no way to get around that. Anyhow, so this is a fairly big collection, and I was very impressed, as many are, by the watches put out by Casio G-Shock. So that takes a good amount of space in this category. And watches made by Victorinox, again, very good brand. So the thing I want to tell you is that every single watch not only did I look at the brand, I looked at every model and review for that watch. And I had to eliminate a lot of watches which could have been put on this list, but I did not put them on this list because I only wanted to put what I found to be kind of an optimum balance between aesthetics, quality, price, and of course, the brand comes into the picture. Which brand has put that watch out? Because if you want to have reliable quality, then you have to consult the brand. If somebody's putting out a replica of these watches for a lesser price, and that watch might look exactly like a watch you're looking at here, but when it comes to quality, let's take for instance these watches by Invicta. Now these are not what you would call expensive watches. They're not. And yet Invicta puts out very good quality watches for the price they ask for. Good, sturdy watches, especially for men. So if somebody makes a replica watch of what Invicta is making, and say Invicta is giving you a water resistance level of 200 meters, and the replica gives you 50 meters, and you pay less than what Invicta is asking for, I don't think that's a good deal, because the original watch is very fairly priced, and it is giving you a quality that somebody making an imitation of this will find difficult to produce. So it simply doesn't make sense to go for a watch which would be an imitation of the original. And then of course watches by Seiko or Citizen, good quality watches. Some of these watches you would find to be in a range, in a price range, which is not a watch that you put on every single day. A couple of these watches by Movado, for instance, this one is close to 100,000 rupees. The other one is over 70,000. Not a watch that you put on every single day, unless you want to, but definitely watches for a special occasion, and they look the part. So, long story short, it's already getting close to 9 minutes. But this is a section I want to remind you of. It has beautiful watches. Here is another one, Armatron. Again, similar to Casio, but I prefer the G-Shock watches made by Casio to the ones made by Armatron. But then again, that's just a personal preference. So I would encourage you to visit. I'm sure you'll find watches that are beautiful to look at, and maybe there would be a watch among these that you would like to get for yourself, or perhaps it would encourage you to look a bit further into similar watches from the same brand or by other brands. So, entirely up to you. That's all I had to share with you. Thank you for your time. Excuse the noises that come from the outside. There's nothing I can do. It annoys me as well, just the way it is. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for your time, and goodbye.